Yeah, that's what I said. Come on. Welcome everybody to The Candle Enthusiast. I am your host, Shane Carlson, and this is Aromatically Speaking, my secondary channel here on YouTube. And as all of you should know by now, my new home. It's not my new home, but it is the home of my future candle content. It's where we sit down and we talk about candles, folks. We break them out, we smell them, we talk about them. And we kind of compare them to our childhood nostalgia, our memories. We talk about our passion, about fragrance and aromatics, and God knows what else. We've taken a little bit of a break. We have slowed down the Smell It Sundays, the Sunday live streams, as I'm trying to lower the music. Let's just turn it off. Let's just turn off the music. But we are going bi-weekly or every other week from this point on until the end of the season. That's going to be from now until the holiday season. And then in January, we'll pick up again live every Sunday for Smell It Sunday. And sometimes you got to throw in those spontaneous lives. We are going live, speaking of live, so let's pull you folks up. And excuse me if I seem disheveled, because I'm actually I was out on the road. I came back to do this live, grab a bunch of things, and I'm going back out to film for the main channel, The Candle Enthusiast. So if you haven't subscribed to The Candle Enthusiast, the main channel, make sure you do so. Brand new content coming up, all destination, all travel, all nostalgia, all adventure, folks. And summertime's a great time for adventures. It's not particularly my favorite season, but getting out there and doing summer activities. Man, some of these things I've been trying, not quite easy. So I'm excited for you guys to laugh, but while I'm making this summertime content, it's a little bit uncomfortable for me. I'm a little bit more comfortable in the cold weather. But here on Aromatically Speaking, all candles, all the time. All right, so let's get you guys pulled up. So feel free to join the chat. Today we're going to be talking about a candle company that I've talked about in the past. An Ohio-based candle company called Lunar Light Co. And I've worked with the proprietor of this company several times. They've sent me their candles. I've highlighted them, I've unboxed them, and I've burned them. I was actually burning one just the other day. I posted photographs of it on my Instagram account, which is a perfect time to plug my Instagram. Make sure you follow me on Instagram just to see what I'm burning on a day-to-day basis. Let's show you what the candle I was burning looks like. The lighting is a little weird, but we can get a focus. Dracula's Castle. So yes, Lunar Light does celebrate the Halloween horror film, gothic sensibility all year round, because like myself and a lot of you folks as well, Halloween is not just once a year kind of thing. It can be celebrated anytime. And this candle truly was, if you read my Instagram post, it's not an exaggeration. It was a true experience, an excursion, if you will, through Dracula's castle. And in my mind, I'm thinking more of like Christopher Lee, Hammer horror film Dracula, than anything else. Putting Bela Lugosi aside for a moment, but it was a beautifully dark, but also beautifully luxurious candle. There's a lot of earthy notes. There's some herbal notes, and it just painted this portrait of this hollow castle that is just super ancient, The vines growing on the stones, the old wood, the furniture, the plush furniture. You've heard me say all this stuff before, but really this was a super fun experience and a great candle companion if you for your next fright night, where when you're putting on a horror film or something spooky. This is a great candle to pair with it. With that said, this is not a sponsored video. I always want to say that in the beginning because a lot of folks might be thinking that I'm trying to, peddle these candles, and that's not the case. When I find a candle company that I really enjoy, I really love the artistry behind them, and they burn well, they perform well. I want to do my best to spread the word because I'm truly passionate. As much as I love Yankee Candle, as much as I love the big candle companies, really the basis of the Candle Enthusiast, going on 4 years now, was to highlight the artists, not just necessarily the small production, the small batch candle companies, but the artists behind those companies who really are not looking to just make home fragrance. They're really trying to create a painting, a portrait, call it what you will, through aromatics. And because I enjoy these candles so much, I've reached out and I said, look, if you have anything you want me to highlight, I would be glad to burn them, do giveaways, unbox them, and unbox is what we're going to do today. I'm pretty sure what I have here is a horror-themed summer collection from Lunar Light Co. And we need a knife to open up this box. You can see I already opened it a little bit, but I promise you it was just by mistake. I thought it was something I ordered on eBay, but it wasn't. And speaking of which, we're going to be highlighting something else that one of you folks sent me for evaluation. I have no idea what candle company it is. I have the box right here. But if you want to send any candles my way for live evaluation, live unboxings, my P.O. Box, the Candle Enthusiast P.O. Box, is going to be in the description below. So please check that out. And I keep wanting to pull you folks up. There we are. I see you guys. But let me do this, because this is easier for me. And I can already smell what's going on in this box here. Let's just stick with that for now. Alright, and as always, if there's any lagging, please, just in big bold print, in caps, in the chat section, please let me know. It's an ongoing problem with these live channels, as is the heat. My God. I mean, it feels like it was just a few weeks ago that I was out here freezing. And I'm already breaking out in a sweat. So here we go. We have some business cards. And this one's really cool. Check this one out. Before we start getting into the candles, I always want to show you guys what it's going to look like when you get this stuff in the mail. We have this Edgar Allan Poe skeletonized. Well, he definitely is not looking so living in this moment, and he is backdropped by this these trees, this bare naked forest. And the note on the back reads, "Hey Shane, thank you for checking out the candles. Hope you love them. 3 of them are from the Killer Summer Collection." Key words here, Killer Summer Collection. And the other one I think you will really enjoy. So I had to include it. Love, Alex. Alex, thank you so much, as always. We have a little magnet here that could go on the Candle Enthusiast Mobile. And we have Candle Care. Right now, any candle companies who are sending me stuff, and anybody who might be listening, watching this at a later time, big bonus points here for Candle Care. This is very important because, you know, the biggest complaints that I personally receive from folks who burn big candle company candles, you know, small batch candle companies, is that you know, performance, like they're not getting the intensity they want. There's problems with the wicks. Thing is, every candle is different, and if you don't have instructions to help out your customers, it can become a big problem, especially when the candles are very pricey and you can't smell them. So bonus points for any candle company who wants to share, or just this is perfect. She's got a bunch of business cards printed up. Candle Care with everything you need to know to make sure that these candles are going to burn appropriately. I'm sure they go through plenty of testing, and so there's, I'm sure, lots of variables that need to be shared with the customers. Okay, we're going to do this one candle at a time because that seems to make sense. This one says Horror Stories. That is the name of the candle. So Killer Summer Collection. Oh yeah, all right. Let's switch the camera so you guys can see what I see here. All right, let's remove this bubble wrap. No broken glass, which I don't know about you guys. This time of year is such a horror for me. I'm trying to point to the horror. Broken candles is the worst thing we can get in the mail, but nothing here. So we have kind of this signature Lunar Light label, which I love, this monochromatic label. Oh man, this looks like one of the wax figures from the House of Frankenstein Wax Museum in Lake George, New York, which I may or may not be heading to soon. Just a little heads up. And then here, you know, these photos kind of look like just that, horror stories, but almost like the illustration promotions for old radio show horror stories. You know, they're all public domain now. I highly recommend them if you've never listened to some of them. It's great to have them on when you're working, or I actually put them on when I'm trying to like relax, like, you know, if I'm going through one of those insomnia modes and I can't sleep. Believe it or not, the horror stories, I find them soothing. There are some fragrance notes here, but I won't look at them just yet. Horror stories. So what am I thinking about? Horror stories. Horror stories to me, and especially when you look at these pictures, you know, I loved, when I was a kid, things like Fangoria magazine. Those aren't horror stories, but kind of in the same ballpark were the comic books. You know, Tales from the Vault. And then Tales from the Crypt, when, you know, came out on HBO, you know, in the early 90s or late 80s. I can't really remember, but whenever it was, I was there, and I probably shouldn't have been watching, but my brothers were, so was I. And I just love that you know, horror stories that are spooky or scary. They're disturbing, but the main objective is always to have a fun time, right? You know, reading a comic book, putting it down, and you're scared. No kid wants that. But if you read the book and it's disturbing and it's spooky, but you're kind of laughing in your head in the background. To me, those were always the best comic books. I'm not saying this is a comic book candle, but let's see what's going on. So it doesn't smell necessarily like a comic book, but I tell you what it does smell like. It smells like a book to me for several different reasons. There's that 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 library smell. But I'll be honest, how many libraries have you gone into where it's stocked with leather-bound books? For me, not many, unless you're in the big cities, like New York City or something. But if you've ever been into someone's house that has a lot of, they have a study, they have a lounge, walls are lined with the genuine leather books, or if the best place you can smell this kind of stuff is in museums, whether the books are just on display. The Norman Rockwell Museum is a fantastic example of this. I was at Washington Irving's estate. I'm there quite often, but the last time I was there was just before Halloween last year. And what they have on display is his office with his books all surrounding the room. That would just be incredible alone if these were all like props and recreations, but these were actually his books. And in many cases, some of the books on the wall were Washington Irving's first printed books, like first edition books. And some of them may have been bound in leather, most of them most likely not. But that's definitely the portrait, right? Horror stories, leather, books, and there's a definite smell that provokes age here. This doesn't smell like a dusty page from a library. I think a lot of folks want a candle that smells like a library for good reason. I love books. I love collecting books. I love the smell of old books. But when you really get into some of those older books and you open the pages and they're like yellow and brittle, that smell is not as appetizing as our brains probably want to remember them to be. But then again, if you walk into a comic book shop, there's that smell of newsprint. There's that smell of paper, or the smell of like a Xerox machine that just pumped out a stack of papers. That hot paper smell. I think that smell works really well for painting that portrait of an old book. And I'll be honest, something that I'm thinking about here is I used to collect posters, like my brothers and I, when we were kids, movie posters. We tried to get them signed by like the directors and the celebrities that were in them. We'd go to conventions and stuff like that. Yeah, we did that. But we would have just rolls and rolls of posters. There's a paper smell here, and that leather is a really nice component to that. So I don't want to pull you away from this image, but I want to also give you another example of leather, of walking into a place where you're hit with a monstrous amount of leather. Can you think of what I'm going to say? A shop that sells shoes, brand new shoes. Or I'm thinking of like Wilson's Leather, like a Wilson's Leather outlet. You walk in and you have all hundreds, thousands of purses, bags, jackets, shoes of this genuine leather, this musky, beautiful smell. In some cases, it can be overbearing when you walk into a leather store, but here it's, on the surface, it's really balanced in quite nicely. And what I always love about leather is that it rides that fine line of leather and musky rose. There's a sweetness here too, like a pipe tobacco sweetness, which goes hand in hand with that study or library, anywhere where there's a book or books on the wall and a desk and dim lighting, wooden furniture. speaking of wood, I'm trying to identify. I don't know if I'm going to get this right, but because sandalwood is always so hard for me. I think it's hard for everybody because everybody's sandalwood can smell different. But what is usually a prerequisite of sandalwood, a fragrance oil, is that it smells luxurious. It both smells like wood, but it also kind of smells like something that's in a cologne because it is used in cologne all the time. So for me, Horror Stories by Lunar Light Candle Company, definitely putting me in that environment of, I'm reading, I'm sitting down for the evening and I'm like, what am I going to read? Like I don't have like 5 hours to invest in reading an entire book cover to cover, but I want to read something good. And something I usually turn to is, short stories. I love Raymond Chandler. Raymond Chandler's got fantastic short stories, mystery novels, or mystery stories, but I love his mystery novels. As I also love Dashiell Hammett as well. But this is more of an Edgar Allan Poe, Nathaniel Hawthorne, maybe even like Charles Dickens experience. And I'm saying that because there's I'm feeling that spookiness that I'm sure is very purposeful in this candle. And I think this comes from the darkness of the musky and the sweetness that's coming through as far as the tobacco. I feel like those combinations, you always think of that genre of, I do anyway, that genre of author, maybe a little bit of absinthe here, or cognac they're sipping on, they're sitting down, they're writing they're spinning yarn, right? They're telling their tales, maybe narrating it out loud as they write or as they type, and always, of course, smoking that pipe. So kind of impressed here because very good, execution of that library smell that so many people are looking for. But it's not just that. I think, as I said, I'm a big, as a kid, I was a big comic book horror fan, and that smell, my brother and I talk about it all the time. The comic book shop that we shopped at when we were kids. I mean, it was like 15 years old by the time I was born, but it's still there today. And when my brother and I, when we get together and we go back to that store, it sends us right back to childhood. It's so insane how the smell brings us right back. I mean, we're talking like 30 years in a matter of walking through a glass door. And it's not the smell of the building, because all comic book shops have that very distinct smell. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, I highly recommend just look, Yelp it. Google it, Yelp it, search for a comic book store that carries old editions of comics, that vintage newsprint. Walk in those doors and get a whiff of that aroma. It's very specific. And if you read comic books when you were a child, or if you still collect them now, like my brother, a big collector of comic books, it's a very nostalgic thing. But this will bring you to that study, that library, whether school library, town library, or that New York City library. Think of the opening scene of Ghostbusters. Lunar Light Candle Company, Horror Stories. There are fragrance notes. Let me read them. Black vanilla, sweetness. Definitely picking that up. I should have just flat out said vanilla. Leather is here, and dark musk. I like that. Dark musk, what does that mean? What is dark musk? Well, it's obvious that we're keeping a little bit of secrets here, but, you know, there's a little bit of proprietary fragrance oil mixology secrets in this candle, but it's not just that leather. And I kind of was getting that, and I think that's why I was leaning towards Edgar Allan Poe. There is that feeling of something Salem, something bewitching, something dark. And I know I included Charles Dickens in that category, but whenever I think of Dickens, I think of Christmas, you know, Dickens' Christmas Carol. And to me, that's, even though it's a very happy ending and it's a very happy story, it's still a very dark, dark story. Horror stories. Let's get one more look at this candle. And you guys can follow Lunar Light by visiting Instagram. It's simply Lunar Light Co. That's their handle on Instagram. And it also happens to be their web address, lunarlightco.com. I'm not sure if these are released yet, though. Keep that in mind. So you want to make sure if they're not released, go to the website, check first. If they're not released, definitely follow them on Facebook and Instagram, because that's when you're going to get all of this up-to-date information, so you can get your hands on these before they sell out. Because the Dracula's Castle and the Mummy's Tomb that I unboxed, burned, evaluated, did a giveaway for these candles, they did do really well, and Alex did sell out of these candles. She restocked them, but they did sell out. And now that we're approaching, I always say after the 4th of July begins Halloween mania. You know, and this is going to involve, you know, candle hobbyists and just Halloween hobbyists in general. I always notice a huge spike on both my channels this time of year, and just in the actual demands from people. Halloween, Halloween, autumn, fall, Halloween, Halloween. As soon as the 4th of July is over, it seems like everybody wants Halloween. So I try to sprinkle as much Halloween in now, while I'm also doing summer content. But if you're purchasing, you're getting ready for Halloween, and you don't want to wait till the last minute to get your Halloween candles for this season, before they sell out, like Witch City Wicks, you know what I mean? Like, this is, a lot of people get very disappointed that they can't get their hands on those candles because they sell out so quick. This is the way to prevent it. You know, getting it out of the way now. I'm looking here. What's going on? I don't have a director here to tell me that I'm looking into the wrong camera, guys. I apologize. But we have 3 other candles. So let's keep this going. How we doing in the chat area? Jody says, it's the first time I've made it to a live in ages. Well, it's great to have you. Judy, thank you for joining today. Philly Candleman in the house. I need an igloo for the summer. I think, man, you know, I'm telling you, I really do like the summer. I think it comes off sometimes. I say things that people think I hate the summer. I don't hate the summer. I love the summer. I just can't stand the heat. I cannot live without an air conditioner. And we'd be in the studio right now, but it's set up for several different things that I'm filming. And I don't want to ruin those secrets, so I had to get outside today to do a little bit of, get a little bit of color. I always say color. I'm not going to get color from studio lights. I'm going to get color from being out in the sun. But if I was out there, I'd be sweating a whole lot more than I am now. Killer summer. Oh, man. Look at this. Let me switch the camera here. Let's see if we can get that light to do its job just a little bit better. That's about as best as it wants to do. So Alex, proprietor of Lunar Light, is a big horror film fan, just like myself. I love horror films. I love summertime. To me, summer is more appropriate for horror films than actually Halloween, believe it or not. I mean, that's just me, because growing up, that's what I did. Every night it was about, swimming in the pool at night, going inside, and then watching as many rented horror films from our local video rental stores as possible. I was convinced by the time I was like 12 years old that I was going to see every horror film ever made. Well, so this is a great combo for me. Killer Summer. And we have a bunch of skeletons who look kind of like they're doing a rain dance or maybe raising the roof, but I think they're just celebrating. I think they're among the palm trees on the beach, perhaps. And we have a jack-o'-lantern sun with some seagulls or perhaps some bats. You never know. You never know. But what does it smell like? Killer Summer. I was thinking of Cruel Summer, right? Come on. But that would be completely off base for this concept. The song Cruel Summer. You know Cruel Summer. Not Ace of Base. Thinking of the wrong one. Ooh. So this actually does provoke this feeling of being at the beach, but it's not necessarily aquatic. Not like beach water. The sea, or the ocean. It's not like that salty saline. There's some tropical notes here, but really what hit me first was the thought of like not copper tone, not I don't know any other brands. Copper tone is what we used at the beach when I was a kid, but not that. But definitely the smell of a lotion-rich, perfumed, very pretty summertime smell, fruity, tropical. Yeah, tropical, melon, banana. Coconut, like pina colada. Oh yeah, that's kind of, all right, so that's where I'm going. So at the beach, if this is going to be a horror theme, I'm going to close my eyes. I'm getting this tropical feeling. I'm smelling this beach, this thing that's reminding me a little bit of suntan lotion, but a little bit more contemporary, a little bit more pretty, a little bit feminine. I think any man could put this on. I'd be happy to put this on myself. I have no problem smelling like bananas and melons, and maybe some mangoes and coconuts. But a very feminine smell here. I think this is more of a perfume than cologne. Definitely lotion rich. I mean, I don't know how else to describe that. Like, you're smelling a lotion. But still refreshing from that fruit. So what horror films in the summer do I think about? The first one that comes to mind, Lost Boys, Kiefer Sutherland. You had the Corey duo, Corey Haim and Corey Feldman. The Joel Schumacher vampire film of I don't know what year, late 80s. But man, was that movie really popular in my house when I was a kid. To me, that's like it. To be a vampire growing, like in my head as a kid, was a cool thing. Dressing up as a vampire for Halloween wasn't necessarily Dracula, but it was more of dressing up as Kiefer Sutherland, Leather jackets, spiky hair. I think I did that a couple Halloweens. But to be honest with you, I'm just kind of following my, like I said, my childhood nostalgia. This really does make me think of the beach, and I wasn't a beach frequenter. I did not go to the beach a lot as a kid. My parents were not fans of the beach. I'm still not kind of a fan of the beach, but I do like to get out there every so often. But whenever I think of the beach, I don't think of the East Coast. Even though I spent most of my life on the East Coast. I used to spend time not on the beach, but in the Jersey Shore region, Atlantic City region, Cape May region, Virginia Beach. But I think when I think of the summer and the beach, I'm thinking of Santa Monica Pier. I'm thinking of Hermosa. I'm thinking of Huntington Beach. I'm thinking of Balboa. I'm thinking of the greater Los Angeles region beach arenas, and that's because this is where they filmed. It's where they film everything. I mean, it's Hollywood, right? If Hollywood's got to film a beach sequence, whether it's a horror film or not, and this is true for television. They're going to shoot it. They're going to film it, at Santa Monica or somewhere close, and seeing those palm trees as a kid, I was a California dreamer. I wanted to go to California. To me, it was only a place that existed in the movies. Speaking of Bananarama and Cruel Summer, thinking of the Karate Kid, Ralph Macchio running around the beach, kicking a soccer ball, or taking lessons with Mr. Miyagi, Saved by the Bell. Right, they shot that whole thing. Even Happy Days, they shot, Fonzie jumping the shark. All of that stuff, shot right there at the Santa Monica Pier or nearby. But summertime, all the way. If you want to incorporate this into a summer horror film and burn this while you're watching a horror film, I think that is a fantastic idea. But I don't think necessarily this has to be Halloween or horror specific. I don't see anything that makes it specifically Halloween, and I don't think that's a problem either. I think that gives us more reasons to break this out. I think another thing that's interesting about this candle, and something that's kind of valuable about this candle, is that it's a beach candle without. If you're not a fan of the beach flowers, the jasmines, the lavenders, the fabric softener florals that you usually find in beach concepts, bam. If you're not a fan of the salty saline, the sandy beach.
Ken Jr. is calling.
Who is calling? Give me a second. This is not my phone. I don't know who was calling, but they're not calling anymore. Killer Summer by Lunar Light Candle Company. Let's see the fragrance notes. I was off on the fruit. Oh no, but okay, so coconut milk, apricot, and aloe. So that's interesting, because I was saying undeniably lotion, right? Maybe I was wrong. Was I smelling aloe? Maybe I was mixing up that lotion with some Barbasol. Smooth aloe action. I still think it smells like suntan lotion, but to me this smells like something like Bath and Body Works, a kind of lotion that they would produce. Something tropical. What did I buy for my mother for Mother's Day? The Waikiki fragrance, the new one for Bath and Body Works. I think it's new. It's a coconut pina colada thing, a little bit of floral action, lei petals. She loved it. I loved it. I knew she would love it because she loves the pina colada. And the coconut milk apricot, I was kind of interpreting that as a pina colada, as the coconut pineapple, but close enough. It worked. It painted that portrait, and if you need a little summertime candle that is going to take you to the beach, but not necessarily the water. Maybe that cozy cabana that's serving the beverages, you know? Those nice hurricane beverages, tropical fruits and ice blended in a glass. That's kind of what I get from Killer Summer. Fantastic. 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 I'm trying to pull you guys out. I keep hitting Safari. And look at this. The man with the golden candle. 10-pound super chat. Thank you so much, Alex. Alex is quite a guy, quite the character. And when I say character, I mean that in the best way. He's recorded a couple of his own candle evaluations. I don't even know if you can call them evaluations or reviews. But I'm trying to get this guy to start his own YouTube channel because he's got the boys of Christopher Lee. I mentioned just Christopher Lee not too long ago. He's got like this really deep, rich voice that feels, it's like he was born to narrate horror stories. However, talking about candles would also be very soothing. So I call this guy like the next big candle movement on YouTube. We just got to talk him into starting a channel. But thank you very much, Alex, the man with the golden candle, for the 10-pound super chat. All this money, folks, is going right into the Candle Enthusiast account. And man, I'm already worn out, man. I'm already worn out. And this week really haven't even begun. But I can't complain, right? Because we're sitting around. And Rianne with the €2 super chat. Rianne, thank you so much. And it looks like was there somebody else? Because I have 14 here. Oh, but it's $14. I see. So together. So Rianne, thank you so much for the super chat as well. A quick hello from the birthday girl. That's right. I just wished her happy birthday on the Candle Enthusiast Facebook group. Happy birthday, Rianne. Rianne, longtime supporter of my channel, my brother's channel, and just an awesome girl and thoughtful girl all around. Some of the coolest Christmas gifts I've ever received in my life was from Rianne. She's from, well, I don't know if she wants me to share where she's from, but she collects really interesting candies from her little corner of the world. And some of them I've become highly addicted to. Speaking of cruel summer, Bananarama, Evanescence recently did an awesome cover of it. It says Rose. I like Evanescence. It's hard to say it. I haven't said it in about 15 years. Evanescence. Yeah, I remember this song. Am I not? I can't remember the lyrics, but I remember that. Yeah, I had that album. I gotta check that out. Thank you for that little tip. Shane, where did the edited Killer Clowns video go? Well, that's a good question. It's only been taking me how long to make it. Guys, this video is being not shot anymore. It is filmed. But it is, by and large, the hardest candle evaluation video that I have ever edited. I'm not kidding. I am a week and a half past my deadline. So I reached out to Erie Candle Company. I'm like, guys, I don't know what to do here. You know, I promised you guys a video like a week and a half ago, and I still have like 20 more hours of editing to do on this thing. Yeah, I really wanted to go all out for this Killer Clowns video. I wanted to put out the best candle evaluation video I could do. 8 candles, and to do it really quick, and to keep it entertaining, keep it informative, and to really give you that smell-o-vision experience. So to answer your question with that video, I'm hoping, you know, I'm going to be able to get those 20 hours of editing in when I get back from this week-long trip of filming Aromatic Adventures, my series where I'm on the road destination. So it is coming, And Erie Candle Company is on board. We've just kind of pushed off our giveaways that we're going to be doing, and I think they are going to be restocking right around that time. So hopefully the timing will work out. Thank you for asking that question, Omega. I really appreciate it. All right, let's keep this going. Did you do a Joel Schumacher retrospective marathon when he died a week or two ago? Did Joel Schumacher pass away? Ah, man, that is a horrible thing to hear. I did not. Eric, if you're still watching, I'm flustered now because I just threw that in there. Killer Summer Collection. So the horror stories, I think, is what Alex sent for me. And then the others are all going to be the killer story. No, I was heartbroken by Carl Reiner. I'm not kidding when I say this. I was watching, which I commonly do. When I was editing, I was watching an episode of Dick Van Dyke. And this is one of the episodes where, Carl Reiner, he commonly was in the show. He was in this episode. He was in the scene when I saw the sidebar on my computer, the notification that Carl Reiner had passed away, and it was, it's a horrible feeling. It's just amazing to think of, people from that era of television. There's some of them are still around. Dick Van Dyke is still with us. That's crazy. And it wasn't too long ago that Mary was still with us as well, Mary Tyler Moore. But Joel Schumacher, that's news to me, and that is heartbreaking. So I didn't do a retrospective marathon, but maybe I will. But I will be skipping Batman and Robin, or did he do both Batman and Robin? Was it Batman? What's the one with Val Kilmer? I'm not sure if he did both or just the one. Look at the name of this. So this brings me back to middle school, not childhood. Check the name of this one out. So again, if I wasn't too clear the first time, the first candle was Horror Stories, this camera, Horror Stories, which was a little bonus for me. I probably will burn that first so I can post that on Instagram and my thoughts. But everything else, the Killer Summer and the one here and the one that is coming up, is a part of the Killer Summer collection, which I do not think has been released yet. I know what you did last summer. I'm trying to remember their names. Oh my God. I almost said Sarah Jessica Parker. What's Buffy's name? Help me out. Sarah Gellar? Sarah, that doesn't sound right. What's her name? And then who is the brunette? I'm forgetting everyone's name. Ryan Phillippe? Is he the only one I'm remembering? But of course, the film that was the response of, Wes Craven's Scream in 1996, I believe. This was, the new age of teenage horror films. It's when horror films actually kind of jumped out of the B film, market for a little bit and jumped into the A films, no longer, for a big stretch of years, did you see these tiny little budget horror films. I mean, you always have them, but you never, like in the early 90s, see big budget horror films unless they were, I don't know, maybe a big actor or a big director attached to it. But Scream kind of set off a movement of new films, Jeepers Creepers, and a whole slew of sequels of all films alike, a lot of reboots. And I'm thinking, I mean, the first thing I think of is, I'm like, what could this smell like? And I'm thinking of like the fish market, and I'm hoping to God this doesn't smell like fish. And it certainly doesn't. This has got a musky quality too. This is musky, but not in a rose way at all. This is a soapy musky. This is, I don't know. I'm kind of getting this warm blanket thing. Maybe I'm watching TV. I'm watching, you know, I Know What You Did Last Summer, and I'm going back to middle school. I wasn't frightened because I loved horror films, but a lot of my friends terrified of horror films, right? Maybe it's that warm blanket that you're hiding behind, or the blanket you use to cover your eyes while you're watching the horror films. Because I'm definitely getting that like warm, luxurious cashmere thing, clean cashmere. And with that, so some floral musk and citrus. You know, that's always, that duo is always what's going to create that feeling. And as far as citrus, I'm just going to stick with lemon and keep it there. I got to smell something else for a second. Hold on. I know what you do. I'm trying to think of the plot of the film. Maybe that can help me out. I'm just getting a lot of warm notes, like amber, vanilla. I want to say vanilla. Freesia, floral. If I had to be very specific about that floral, you know, a little bit of that citrusy freesia floral with additional, you know, the lemon zest oil. Not the juice, the zest. And yeah, that warmth of that soapy amber. This is a beautiful indoor fragrance, evening fragrance. You know, whether, you know, you got a hot date coming over and you want your place to smell all classy. Let's say if you're in your 20s, though, you know, like, I don't think you're going to fool anybody by burning a candle or anything. Maybe you could. Have you ever impressed, seriously, for a second, have you ever impressed a date to your place, to your pad, to whatever you call it? Have you ever invited someone to your home and impress them with a scented candle? If you have, you need to tell me that story. Leave that in the comments below when the comment section appears, because the video's got to upload first after this live. But to me, this is, you know, this is kind of taking me to the beach too, but beach in an aquatic way, like in a home fragrance way. So, I'm very curious to see what the fragrance notes here, but I'm sticking with that idea. You know, it's Friday night, it's Saturday night, it's Sunday night, it's late. Someone's making the popcorn, someone else is taking care of, like, pouring the drinks. But, you know, I'm sitting by the TV on the big fluffy couch. I'm always going to claim that blanket, probably 3 or 4 pillows as well, and we're diving into this movie. But I'm interested to see if there's a completely different angle here. Or maybe if I'm just not remembering the movie as much. Let's take a look. Oh, yeah, I'm not remembering the movie. You're right. So the image on the label just kind of gave it away for me. But at least I'm getting the fragrance right. So I Know What You Did Last Summer. The fragrance notes are ocean air. So again, the ocean air is always going to be comprised of those florals and the citrus, moss. So again, more that it's going to give it that green vegetation, that kelp, that underwater vegetation. I'm trying to think of a better word for it, but that's all I got. And driftwood and sea salt. So yeah, absolutely. I think this is a fantastic example of what the fragrance industry illustrates as a nautical beach sea, out on a boat somewhere, whatever it may be. You know, you're out in Cape Cod on a porch, taking in that breeze. You're at Malibu, and you're looking at the water, and all that air's coming in, hitting you in the face. It's a different smell. But in the fragrance industry, it's a different smell than this. In the fragrance industry, they use these components of the florals, the citrus, the sea salt you definitely get at the beach, and the driftwood is, driftwood is. I wonder what people use for driftwood, like fragrance oil suppliers. What kind of wood are they actually using? I mean, they're not going out and actually sourcing driftwood from the ocean, right? Hopefully they're not. Maybe if they are, that'd be great. But I wonder what kind of wood they're using. But either way, like I said, this can be anywhere from warm blanket, cashmere sweater, or that, I want to be clear here, fragrance world, fragrance industry's definition of clean, fresh, oceanic air, and a great representation of that at that. So, fantastic job. I Know What You Did Last Summer. I'm forgetting the film. They kill the person, right? And they dump him into the ocean, off the dock in the pier. I got it. I like it. I Know What You Did Last Summer. How many of those films did they make? I only saw the first, and I still can't think of the actresses' names. Did you guys help me out with that? I don't know what's going on with my memory, but it's not. It's going, man. Sarah Michelle Gellar, thank you. And there's no lag. Batman Forever was Joel Schumacher. The Devil Inside video was Schumacher's masterpiece. I could have been convinced Tigerland is, though. Yeah. I always appreciate Eric's knowledge of not just cinema, but all media in general. Jennifer Love Hewitt, Freddie Prinze Jr. Man, these names, they were like, you knew them like the back of your hand. Oh, there is some lagging. There should be some lagging. Let me try something. Why I say there should be is because I'm getting a notification saying, hey Shane, the computer's working too hard. So let's close some things down before we continue. Just give me a moment, folks. Got to do some force quitting action. We don't need that open. You know what I bet you it is? It's iTunes. I bet you iTunes is the culprit. All right, I'm back. Let's see if that helps a little bit. If it doesn't, have to get of what's going on. Yeah, it just started locking up for me. When it happens, I just reboot the live feed, though. Alright, let's see if we've made any leeway. Alright, it looks like we made some leeway. Excellent connection. There might be some lagging, but let's get through another candle. And, yeah, I still see a lag. Alright, we're gonna have to work with it, folks. We're gonna have to work with it. I apologize. I thought we had this fixed. The last candle, I don't know if it's the whole collection that we're opening, but the last candle I have for the Killer Summer collection is Yeah, it's just that stream is, it's my actual service. I can see because it's saying no data, stream is healthy. I might have to cancel this, guys. I don't want to put this. Okay, I'm going to do my best, and then we're going to call it an early day. And then I'm going to review the footage, and if it needs to be redone, I'll just redo it. But we have Haunted Beach by Lunar Light. I'm doing my best with what... Oh, I was already there. Let's get a good look at this label. Haunted Beach. So, once again, we are at the coat. And we have the Grim Reaper, some tombstones, some skeletons floating in that undertow of the beach, and that moon, ominous moon, with some bats fluttering in the foreground. Let's see what this candle... Ooh, there's a spiciness to this one. What kind of spice is that? That is an interesting... once again, we're dealing with something musky and warm. But I'm getting this like... it's pepper. Spice. Green bell pepper. A little bit of like a chili spice. Would Lunar Light go there? Could be, right? Ghost pepper, right? But, you know, I am getting that musk, a little bit of that clean, soft lotion soapiness like I was getting before. Ocean, I'm definitely going to say salt this time. Definitely going to say a little bit of sea salt. Or just, again, I don't necessarily always like to say sea salt, but that sea air, which to me is more of like a brine, you know, a solution of salt and water. You know, it can be a sweeter smell than, you know, smelling a block of salt. But that is interesting. And it's called Haunted Beach, huh? So I want to say the vanilla again. I'm getting that warm, fluffy blanket thing, but it's not a citrus floral. Luxurious scent. I need to smell something else. I want to get this one, guys. I don't know, guys. I'm tapping out. I hope that's okay. I'm tapping out. It's hot. It's hot. We're lagging. I'm under some pressure to fix this lag and this show. I gotta become familiar with some of the things that I just read on this jar. Because there's certainly what's... Yeah, I mean, the fragrance notes, sea salt, sea kelp. So I said green bell pepper. Now, look, I'm not trying to justify what I said, because I said I tapped out. But I did say green bell pepper. There is a green vegetation aroma here, but I did also say that there's a little bit of this chili or pepper thing, spice. And what's interesting is it says dark amber. And I'm wondering if that is the spice, even though I don't associate dark amber with like a obviously a chili spice. No, all right. I think it's just I'm mixing the green with that amber, and to me the interpretation is the pepper. But either way, it still has that luxury feel. Like, to me, again, this is, even though this does play, if you know, the fragrance notes, dark amber, driftwood, sea kelp, sea salt, we're talking about a haunted beach, right? It's still, to me, a very warm, indoor, you know, luxurious fragrance. It fits that category. You know, this is what I would expect. It brings me inside. You know, maybe I'm in the cabin of a luxurious yacht. Let's split the difference, right? You know, this smells like a... it smells like home fragrance, and it smells like freshly laundered linen. That thing, that's very interesting. I'm still getting a little bit of that spice. It's actually tickling my nose. I wonder what is in the candle that's given me that perception. I'm interested one way or the other. So, haunted beach. Let's go over everything we spoke about here real quick. So, if I'm remembering correct, Lunar Light, all of these fragrances for the Killer Summer collection have not been released. But make sure you check out the website, get the information as far as when they're going to be available, if it's there. But the best way to keep informed is to follow them on Instagram, and that's going to be Lunar Light Co, their handle on Instagram. I think that's my suggestion, the best way to keep up to date. Or, you know, you can, follow Lunar Light, follow me. I'm usually trying to help push, release dates and things like that too. So, and if you ever have any questions, send me a message on Instagram. But we had Haunted Beach, which I love the illustration here. It kind of reminds me of Garfield's Halloween Adventure. We had Killer Summer, a little bit of Bananarama in the sun. Cruel Summer, but it's a killer summer. That to me is like sitting at the cabana ordering the drinks, which is probably like me, because I don't like the sand. I like looking at the beach, but I don't really like being too close to the water. You might find me at the cabana having a nice fruity cocktail with ice, because that's my thing, and that's what that candle is for me. I Know What You Did Last Summer, so that dark ocean experience, and just like the Haunted Beach, I think these two candles, the Haunted Beach and I Know What You Did Last Summer, really can serve as a dual purpose. They can bring you to the beach if you consider the ingredients, the fragrance notes, but it also has a well-balanced illustration of the fragrance industry's definition of an aquatic fragrance. So it also smells like the fabric softener. It smells like, the freshly cleaned upholstery, the cashmere sweater. You know what I'm saying? I Know What You Did Last Summer. Did they ever get caught? I can't remember the film at all. Let's face it. I can't remember. It was too many years ago. And a little bonus prize, booby prize, if you will, horror stories. I have to say, this one out of the bunch, God, I have to say, this one, Alex must really know what I like, because this probably was my favorite out of the bunch. It really did transport me quite quick to a certain state of mind. When, if you, like I said, you like me, you want to pick up that book, read a little bit of Edgar Allan Poe, calm yourself down late at night, or, you need a candle to put on when you're listening to those old, ancient radio programs. I highly recommend you find some podcasts. They're out there. They're on YouTube, I'm sure. Listen to some of these old radio shows. Sometimes they're funny, but they're actually, you have to think of the artistry of telling a visual story without the visuals. I love radio. In another lifetime, maybe I will embark on a career of bringing back. But horror stories also reminded me of the comic book shop, the horror comics, Tales from the Crypt, Tales from the Vault, all of that stuff when we were kids that we weren't supposed to be reading, but we were reading anyway. Creep Show, right? Shudder's new program has they have a show based on George Romero's 1980s film, Creep Show. If you subscribe to Shudder, you need something to bring you into that, horror anthology feel. I really like this one. This kind of also, like I said, it makes me feel like Salem, like I'm in Salem. It has that Salem feel. What is in there that's making me think that? It's that muskiness, I almost feel like there should be some resin in this, or like maybe there is resin in this, because it just feels like that magic shop, just some kind of shop that's mystical. Mystical or new age, or kind of a specialty candle shop or specialty arts and crafts shop of a very specific kind of say the Salem persuasion. I like that one. Horror stories. So, Lunar Light Candle Company, thank you so much for supplying these candles, and of course everyone for joining Smell It Sunday. It's always a pleasure to get out and talk about candles. And if I look a little bit tired, and if I look a little bit worn out, it's only because that's exactly how I feel. I've been filming for several days, and there's many more to come. And I cannot wait to share all the new content that I can finally say we have made, because with your pledges, with your donations, with your, even if you're just watching, that is support enough. I don't want you to think that it's a financial thing, but with your support, these videos that I'm finally out there making, it's become possible. And it's taken me a long time to get here where I could really attack this with as much force and as much professionality that professionalism is probably the word I should have used there. I didn't want to just make vlogs. I wanted to make really good content, really good videos, and it's finally happening in the form of Aromatic Adventures. So stay tuned for all of the new videos, and if you want to find out any ways you can help support future videos, because we have Halloween, we have autumn, we have the holidays coming up. There's so much potential for this year. Every way you can help, even if it's just $1, in the description below. And if you need new t-shirts, come on, buy a t-shirt. You get something, and you're helping out Aromatic Adventures. You're helping create content. So Spreadshirt in the description below. Hit that for all of the new designs and the forthcoming Halloween candle enthusiast designs. And I would just want to give one more plug, if that's okay, to the Candle Enthusiast fan group, a group that is not mine. No, it's not mine. I don't run the show. It was created by some really passionate folks, not just passionate about the candle enthusiast me, but passionate about candles. And they created a community that is positive, and I'm so proud of how they've created this community of people who can share their passion for candles, aromas, nostalgia, holidays, their travels, anything they want to share. I feel like it's a safe place for people to come, get together, make friends, and have a good time. I wasn't a Facebook person before the Candle Enthusiast Facebook page. But now it's the first thing I do in the morning is check that page because, quite frankly, become friends with a lot of folks, and it's a funny place, humorous place, and a place where you can learn a lot. Take it from me, give it a shot, request a join, swing over, and if anyone wants to link that up in the chat right now, please do so, or you can just go in the description and find the link. Guys, I got to get back on the road. I got to shower, pack some more clothes. This time I'm heading north, and I'll be seeing you probably on a spontaneous live real soon. Thank you for the super chats. Thank you for watching. Huge thank you to Lunar Light Candle Company. I'm going to give these all some burns, and we're going to be having some giveaways soon. And happy birthday to Rianne. Rianne, happy birthday, even though she's probably sleeping. I will see you guys soon. But until then, be good and happy post 4th of July. I hope you had a wonderful, safe holiday. And I'll see you soon. Have a good day, guys.